Welcome to Silent Secrets. Let me start with a question that might catch you off guard. Why is it that certain men are never forgotten by women, no matter how much time passes? It's not because of money, it's not because of good looks, and it's definitely not because of flashy gifts or smooth one-liners. No, the truth is far deeper than that. Women remember certain men because of the way those men made them feel. And here's something most guys don't realize. The men who leave a permanent mark on a woman's memory are not always the ones who shout the loudest, flex the hardest, or try the most. More often than not, they are the ones who did subtle, almost invisible things. The kind of things that touch something deeper than attraction. Something that reached into her emotions, her psychology, and her soul. You see, women receive attention from men constantly. Compliments, messages, flirty looks, invitations, dinners. It happens every day, but most of that fades away like background noise. It all blends together, predictable, forgettable, ordinary. What actually makes a man unforgettable isn't what most people assume. It's not perfect romance. It's not acting like Prince Charming. It's not being flawless. It's the small shifts in behavior, the moments where you reveal a side most men never show, the qualities that make her stop, think, and feel something so rare she knows she won't find it again. And that's what I want to show you today. Not cliches, not pickup lines, not fake tricks. I want to show you the real reasons women never forget certain men. These are the things women admit to each other behind closed doors. The things they replay in their minds years later. The things they might never say out loud, but will always feel. Some of what I'm about to share may surprise you. Some of it might even make you uncomfortable, because it goes against the common advice you've probably heard. But if you understand and practice these traits, you'll realize it doesn't take perfection to be unforgettable. It takes insight. So let's get into it. She never forgets the man who makes her feel safe out of all the things I'm about to share. This one might be the most important. Safety. A woman will always remember how safe she felt with a man. Now, when I say safe, I don't just mean protecting her from physical danger, although that does matter. I mean emotional safety, mental safety, even spiritual safety. Because here's the truth. Most women are cautious with their hearts. They won't fully open up to a man until they feel sure he won't weaponize their vulnerability. When a man listens without judgment, when he makes her feel like her emotions are not weaknesses but truths worth respecting, something powerful happens. She exhales. She relaxes. She feels relief. And trust me, women never forget the man who gave them that feeling. Think about it. Most men either dismiss women's emotions, you're overreacting, or they get overwhelmed and pull away, or worse, they use her confessions against her later. But the man who simply says, "I've got you. You don't need to go through this alone." That man unlocks a different kind of trust. Months later, years later, she'll remember that moment. Not necessarily the words, but the way her chest felt lighter, the way her walls dropped. That memory sticks. And here's the secret. This isn't about being her therapist. It's not about solving every problem she has. It's about showing her she can let her guard down without being punished for it. Safety is rare. Most men don't provide it, but the ones who do, they stay unforgettable. She never forgets the man who truly listens. You want to know one of the most underrated superpowers a man can have? Listening. And I don't mean nodding your head while waiting for your turn to speak. I mean real listening. The kind that makes her feel heard, understood, and valued. A woman never forgets the man who listened in a way that made her feel her voice actually mattered. Why? Because almost no one does. Most people listen to respond, not to understand. She knows when someone is only half paying attention, just waiting to jump in with their opinion. She knows when someone is glazing over or rushing her. But the man who slows down, who locks in, who remembers the details she shares, that man is different. Think about how rare that is. Her friends half listen. Her coworkers interrupt. Her family might dismiss her. And most men? They just want to get through the conversation to get what they want. But the man who makes her feel like her inner world matters, like her thoughts deserve space, like she doesn't need to shrink herself, that man is unforgettable. And here's what most guys don't get. She doesn't always want solutions. Sometimes she just wants to release what's inside. The men who ruin it are the ones who rush to fix everything. But the man who simply says, "That sounds really tough. I hear you," builds a bond deeper than attraction. Because when she feels listened to, she feels understood. And when she feels understood, she feels safe. And when she feels safe, she remembers you forever. She never forgets the man who protects her peace. Let me tell you a secret. Women crave peace more than almost anything else. And the truth is, most men have no idea how valuable this is. A woman never forgets the man who made her life lighter, who brought calm instead of chaos, who protected her peace instead of disturbing it. Because let's be real, many women deal with drama constantly. From work, from family, from friends, from past relationships. The last thing she wants is to let a man into her life who adds to that storm. Most men do. They bring insecurity, inconsistency, mood swings, arguments, and stress. But the man who brings steadiness, the one who handles challenges without exploding, who listens without mocking, who stays grounded when things get messy, that man stands out. Protecting her peace doesn't mean being a pushover or saying yes to everything. In fact, it often means the opposite, setting boundaries, refusing to get sucked into pointless fights, keeping control of your own emotions. Because here's the truth. Women respect men who can remain calm under pressure, who can bring order to chaos, who can create an environment where she can relax. Even years later, she'll remember that. And when she compares you to men who brought her drama, you'll look like light compared to darkness. She never forgets the man who challenges her. Now, let's flip it. Women enjoy being admired, pursued, and complimented. But here's the twist. They never forget the man who challenged them. I don't mean being confrontational for no reason. I mean the man who wasn't afraid to call her out when she was wrong. The man who didn't let her get away with games. The man who pushed her to grow. Why does this matter? Because it's rare. Most men bend over backward to please. They agree with everything she says. They let her walk all over them. And while she might enjoy the attention at first, deep down she doesn't respect it. But the man who says, "No, I don't play those games." The man who calmly but firmly sets boundaries. The man who refuses to sacrifice his self-respect just to keep her happy. That man leaves a permanent mark. Because women don't forget the men who shaped them. If you were the reason she became stronger, more disciplined, more accountable, she'll always remember you. Even if she didn't like it in the moment, deep down she'll respect you for it. And years later, when she meets men who fold too easily, she'll think, "They're not like him. They don't challenge me." And that comparison, it never fades. She never forgets the man who made her feel desired. Now, let's talk about desire. Women are constantly being noticed, complimented, checked out. But that doesn't mean they feel truly desired. A woman never forgets the man who didn't just compliment her, but made her feel like she was the only woman in the world. And here's the tricky part. Most men either overdo it or underdo it. Some bombard her with shallow compliments. "You're so hot. You're gorgeous." Over and over until it loses all meaning. Others hold back completely, afraid of looking needy. They give her nothing. But the unforgettable man strikes the balance. He looks at her with intensity. He makes her feel wanted without desperation. He makes her feel feminine, beautiful, magnetic. Desire isn't just words. It's energy. It's the way you look at her. It's the confidence in your touch. It's the difference between "I need you" and "I want you because I choose you." And trust me, women never forget that. Even if she moves on. Even if she dates someone else. She'll remember the man who made her feel like a goddess. She never forgets the man who walked away with dignity. This one is powerful. Women never forget the man who walked away when he wasn't valued, and did it with dignity. No begging. No drama, no anger, just calm, confident self-respect. Most men do the opposite. When a woman pulls away, they panic. They chase. They argue. They beg for another chance. But the man who stays composed, who simply says, "If you can't see my value, I'll remove myself," that man becomes unforgettable. Why? Because it proves his worth wasn't tied to her approval. It shows he isn't afraid of loss. It reminds her that he has options, and that realization hits hard. Even years later, She'll remember the man who didn't fight for crumbs, who chose himself, who walked away with dignity. That kind of strength burns into memory. She never forgets the man who kept his word. Here's an extra one most people overlook: integrity. A woman never forgets the man who actually did what he said he would do. Think about it. How many people break promises? How many men say they'll call, then disappear? How many say they'll change, then repeat the same pattern? Reliability is rare. Consistency is rare. So when a man keeps his word, even in small things, he stands out. And that consistency builds trust. Trust builds respect, and respect builds memory. She never forgets the man who showed depth. Looks fade, status fades, but depth is unforgettable. When a man has passions, wisdom, perspective, when he shares ideas that make her think differently, he becomes more than just another guy. She might forget the men who made her laugh. She might forget the men who bought her gifts. But she'll never forget the one who made her see the world differently. That's the kind of connection that lingers long after everything else fades. She never forgets the man who respected himself. Finally, there's this. Women never forget the man who valued himself, the man who had boundaries, the man who refused to chase validation, the man who treated himself as someone worth respecting. Because here's the truth. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how others treat you. And when she sees you living with discipline, confidence, and self-respect, she can't forget it. Here's what you need to take away. Women don't remember men for gifts, looks, or smooth words. They remember men for how those men made them feel. Safety, peace, respect, desire, depth, growth. Attraction fades. Excitement burns out. But emotions? They linger forever. So don't focus on impressing women with surface-level tricks. Focus on embodying the qualities that leave emotional fingerprints. Because the man who makes her feel safe, heard, challenged, desired, respected, and calm, that's the man she never forgets. And that man can be you.